Hey guys, welcome back to another YouTube video where we talk about self-awareness and the Enneagram. And today we are talking about a self-awareness concept called limiting beliefs and bad habit patterns. And what is a limiting belief, you ask me? Good question. So limiting beliefs, the definition I've essentially come up with is a concept or statement that we believe to be true that is either ineffective, inaccurate, or both. And there's two kinds. There's ineffective limiting beliefs about ourselves, and then ineffective limiting beliefs about situations or problem solving. And we'll talk about the ones for ourselves first. So limiting beliefs about ourselves is like assuming that you can't do something, or a negative thought process that you have about yourself. It's our self-image, like the concept of self-image. And a limiting belief-based self-image is a poor self-image. It's an internalized message that we operate off of that is inaccurate or ineffective and negative. And there's a difference between negative and objective thinking. Negative thinking is, I'm hopeless and helpless over this, and I'll never get better, and I can't do something. Like, can't is that word that just completely takes away the power that we have to change and to grow, and our abilities that we've been given. And then objective thinking is much different, and what we need to be shifting towards, because objective thinking can say, okay, these are my strengths, these are my weaknesses. And you have to know what your strengths are, or else you won't be able to lean into them. And then you have to know what your weaknesses are, or else you won't be able to address them and grow past that and grow in those things that you are normally weak in. So objective thinking will get you to change. It puts confidence in the ability to grow and learn and adapt. So you know it's a limiting belief when you feel defensive over it, you feel self-deprecating over it, or when you feel hopeless over it. So if you are feeling defensive over it, like somebody brings up this thing that maybe you don't think that you're the best at, it's a limiting belief of yours, you'll get really defensive and like try to come up with times when you did well at that thing. Or maybe you will try to change the subject, or just however you present being defensive over something, you will be defensive over that. Being self-deprecating over that thing will look like you making the joke about it, or you bringing it up, and being self-deprecating about it just so that it kind of feels like you're taking away its power, but really you're just dwelling on it. So rather than like joking and being funny or whatever you may think self-deprecation is, you're really just giving it more of a foothold and more power in your life. And then when you feel hopeless over it, that's kind of the negative thinking thing again. Feeling hopeless over it, you are dwelling on the fact that you can't do that, or you'll never get better. It's those dramatic can't, never, always statements that really take away from the power that we have to grow and change and learn, and free will essentially. So we internalize these messages, and then they come to fruition, and that's how they become a belief. So maybe it's a statement that somebody else has said, or you failed at something, and then you start to come up with these messages of like can't and won't and don't, or whatever it may be, those kind of negative thought processes. And then since you're thinking about it or kind of dwelling on that, it becomes fruition, because what we focus on and what we believe about ourselves, our self-image, becomes our reality. It becomes who we really are. So then it becomes a belief, because then we have evidence about it. A great book about this concept of self-image is What We Make It and What We Dwell On is a good book called Psycho-Cybernetics. It talks about the self-image and the power to change our self-image and then change our reality. So check out that book. And then the second kind of limiting belief is about situations. So situational limiting beliefs are like things that you've always done, like a method of fixing a problem, you know, we've always done it this way, or thinking that it's working when it's not, essentially. And like, it's kind of hard to define why necessarily we have these kinds of limiting beliefs, and like, if it's not working, why do we keep doing it? And that's why I also call it a bad habit pattern, because like, even simple bad habits like chewing your fingernails, like why do you do it? You don't really know. It's like a bad habit. So when we have limiting beliefs or bad habit patterns, we are tackling problems in really ineffective ways. And this can lead to frustration. It leads to absolutely no results, or no good results really, because we aren't attacking the problem in the way that it needs to be attacked and dealt with. So we settle for feeling like we've done something instead of actually getting the results. And that's the basis of like what this kind of limiting belief is. We settle for the feeling like we've been productive or like we've accomplished the thing instead of actually fixing the problem or dealing with it. And this is why I call it a bad habit pattern. So how do we break out of any of these is the big problem. So the limiting beliefs, the problem with them is that they make us feel hopeless. We think a certain thing about ourselves, we have a certain self-image, and then we feel helpless to change that, or we feel like that's just who we are. And then when we have a certain way of dealing with it, and it doesn't go well because we've always done it that way, and it's never worked, we think that we can't do that, or we can't do that thing, you know? So we have to break out of this by, first of all, becoming aware of it. Because if we aren't aware of it, we can't fix it. If we don't know that it's there, we can't fix it. We have to be objective about ourselves and about situations. So what that looks like with being objective with ourselves is we have to be objective with our strengths. We have to know what we're good at, and we have to be honest about what we're good at. And then we also have to be objective about our weaknesses. You have to face whether you are or are not good at something and then try to develop from that. If you are good at it, you know, maintain it. Like, let that build confidence in you so that you know that you can go and do other things. And then we have to be objective about the results from our methodology of handling problems or situations. So it's the idea of cause and effect, right? So the cause is like the thing that we do, the way that we solve the problem, and the effect is the result. So what you're doing, is it causing the result that you want? The thing that you're doing, is it effective? Is it getting the result that you want? And if it's not, how can you change it? And really start to have this creative mindset. Instead of going on autopilot with problem solving, instead of doing what you've always done and just falling into default when this problem comes up, be creative, be open-minded, and be active in what you're doing. Don't just numb out and handle it how you've always done it. Pay attention, be engaged, and take action. So that's essentially all I have, at least for this video, on limiting beliefs and bad habit patterns. If you like this and you have any questions, comment below. Hit the like button and the subscribe button for more videos like this. I'll for sure do another video on limiting beliefs and bad habit patterns. There's tons more to dig into, but this is all I wanted to get into in this video. So I hope you liked it, and I'll see you guys next time.